If I touch the body without the right paperwork, it's not just a mistake, it's a crime. It's also medical malpractice. Most people think that the autopsy starts with a scalpel. Oh no, it actually starts way before then. In fact, by the time I enter the mortuary, I've already done some hours of detective work. Today, I'm taking you behind the scenes of what really happens when I do an autopsy. The process begins long before I see the body. It starts a day or two before. It starts with an email telling me how many cases I have. That makes me know what kind of day I'm about to have on the scheduled day for the autopsy. I also get to know if I need to carb load, if I need to strength train. Some days are more physically demanding than others. Anyway, after that comes the most important bit, the paperwork. Now, this is my legal go-ahead from the coroner. Without it, I have no authority. In fact, without it, it will be criminal for me to try to perform an autopsy. But this paperwork is also my roadmap. It gives me 3 vital clues. 1, the scene. This helps me build a mental picture because it tells me the circumstances surrounding the death, where they were found and how the death happened. It also gives me the social history of the patient. So are they known to be smokers? How long have they smoked for? How about the alcohol use? It also shows me the past medical history, like the chronic condition that they may have been suffering from, such as hypertension, diabetes. Now, all this gives me a mental picture of what to expect when I do perform the autopsy. Again, it tells me about the family. I see their specific concerns, the answers they're looking for, and knowing their questions beforehand ensures that I address them during the examination. So it's only after I've done all this preparation that I go to the mortuary on the day of the postmortem. I usually arrive at about 9 a.m., maybe 9:30, and sometimes 10. I met the fantastic mortuary staff. They do make my job a lot easier. Have a quick coffee or tea, depending on the mood I am in, and then I go to change to the scrubs. I'm still trying to get into the small size scrubs, but for now, I think the medium is going to do. After changing to scrubs, then I get kitted up. Now that means I get my gloves on, 2 sets of gloves, and a Kevlar glove in between. The Kevlar glove is a glove that prevents me from getting caught. I also get my head covering on, my goggles, sometimes face shields, and then 2 aprons, a long sleeve apron, then a short, and then a sleeveless apron on top of the long sleeve apron. Oh, and then the boots. So it's after I'm fully kitted up that I go approach the body. All this gear helps to protect me and I guess the body. Now, every examination begins with the external examination. Looking at the weight, the height of the patient, knowing their body mass index, that gives a clue of possible diseases that might have affected them. Also, every scar, every injury, every medical device can also tell a story. So, for example, if the patient had a fall before the death, I might see bruises. If the patient had a pacemaker, I would see the pacemaker. If the patient has had resuscitation before, I will see signs of resuscitation. So things like this is what I gather from the external examination. And obviously, if the patient has had maybe a cancer, I might see or will be searching for lumps and bumps to indicate that the cancer might have spread. So it's after a thorough physical examination or external examination that we go inside. Every organ is examined one after the other. Now, after the examination of the organs, in some cases, that will be the end of the process because the cause of death is obvious. So in cases like ruptured abdominal aortic aneurysm, as discussed in one of my previous videos, that will be quite obvious, and then I will not need to do any further investigation. But in cases like the case of the metastatic rectal carcinoma, as in one of my other videos, then I'll need to take some small samples for histology. And then in some other cases, I might need toxicology. like in the case of alcoholic ketoacidosis that I discussed in one of my previous videos also. So if it's a straightforward case where the cause of death is obvious from the examination, it all stops there. I go back to my room, try to put it all together and write an autopsy report to give to the coroner. But if I still have to do other investigations like taking histology, I'll have to wait for the slides to come back, examine them under the microscope, or wait for the toxicology results to come back from the toxicology lab, read through it, and then I try to put everything together to get a story, connect the dots to get the cause of death and the explanation of why I think that is the cause of death. So it's after I've put it all together that I now write the report and send it to the coroner. Then the coroner might decide to send it to the family, and in most cases it stops there, but not always. Sometimes I'm called to give a witness in the coroner's court, but I'll tell you about that later. Bye for now, and do watch my other videos.